It's that time of year again. Time to sign up for the Disc Jockey News 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. This year we have 12 days packed full of amazing prizes you can win. On the first day, you can win 5 specialty video downloads worth $125 from promo only. On day 2, someone is going to win a full show pass for Mobile Beat Las Vegas 2017. Up for grabs on day 3 is 3 months of digital downloads from Top Hits USA. On day 4, you can win a Swarm 5 FX from Chabé DJ. Multiple winners on night 5 means you can win either a Weather System EXA from Blizzard Lighting or one of 4 copies of Dex 3 software from PC DJ. On night 6, we're giving away a Stinger Star from ADJ. You can make your own Christmas star if you win the prize on night 7, an Uno Laser Legacy GBC from ProX. On the 8th day, you can win 1 year of digital downloads from Prime Cuts. Up for grabs on the 9th day is an iPad Mini brought to you by DJ Event Planner. On the 10th day, you have a chance to win a Newmark NV2 DJ controller. Win on the 11th day and you can be playing your holiday music from a set of EKX 12-piece speakers from EV. And finally, on the 12th day, JBL is offering up a shiny new pair of PRX 815W speakers. Bonus prize, all the winners from each night will also receive their own pair of gig gloves. You even have a chance to snag up some official Disc Jockey News gear just by joining our chat room on each night's live show. To sign up, stop by discjockeynews.com/12 days of Christmas. No purchase is necessary and all prizes will be delivered by Christmas. Best of luck, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night. This is our last night of the 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you for joining us. I'm John Young with the Disc Jockey News. Tonight we're going to be giving away in our second show. The first show is going to have Allison, and she will be coming on in just a little bit with me. First show, Allison is going to be talking about millennials and communicating with millennial brides. The second show, we're going to have our full DJN TV team. We've got Mike, MJ, and Dan, and Shani, and myself. That's when we're going to be doing the JBL drawing. So in this first show, we're going to have the segment and such. We ended up having to record it a little bit earlier today because Allison has some things going on this evening, and our timing just worked out to do it this afternoon. It made it easier on her, so I took the advantage to get that done. I'm going to be in the chat room with you as we're watching it together, and then after we're done, that's where we're going to do some of the drawings for the chat room and get that out of the way and such. So some good information. She shared a lot of her perspective as a millennial, talking to and selling to millennials. So for those of us who are a little bit older, there was some good stuff there. She had some good answers for some of the questions. So that's our evening for our first show, and then the second one will be coming back and getting on with that show at 10 o'clock Eastern and having a nice little night with things. If you guys have any questions and things, we can handle those or we can talk about those. Somebody was talking about Mobile Beat. They asked about the Tropicana compared to the Riviera. That the Mobile Beat show was at the Riviera. Riviera was not the nicest property in the world. It was okay. We weren't there for the hotel or the casino. We were there for the event. Tropicana is a step up. I would say the Tropicana, from my perspective, is if you're putting the Riviera is probably the worst property that I attended. Then ways up, but not too much farther up, was the Stardust days, which Stardust I thought was okay. And the Tropicana is nice. You know, it's not the greatest. It's not the Wynn. It's not Encore. It's not some of the higher end properties. But they've done a nice job. They've remodeled. It doesn't have some of the old smells that it had when it was the old Tropicana before they were going to do that. It's a little more expensive than I would think for the property, so that's kind of a bummer. It used to be a fairly inexpensive property, and since they've done some of the upgrades, it is more expensive. But their rooms are a little bit nicer, but we don't spend time in a room, so it's kind of a thing. But it's a good facility, and it's a chance where you're going to be able to come out and hang out with a lot of DJs that you've seen on the shows, and a lot of people who are in the chat rooms go. So it's a good chance to check that out and see what is up and going out there. So our show tonight, again, we're going to be having Allison. I think we went for about a half an hour, give or take, and then after we're over with that segment, I'll come back on and we'll do some drawings and such. But this is Allison Farley. She works at Tailored Weddings, which, for those of you who know or don't know, Mitch Taylor's, that is his mobile company. Allison's been writing for us here at the Disc Jockey News for a little over a year now, so she's been busy with that and doing her sales and and such, as she's just basically starting out in her career as a DJ and as a salesperson and such. So it's kind of cool talking to her. So we'll be back after that, the recorded segment, and I'll see you then. So today, or I should say tonight with me, is Allison Farley. Allison, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is, I was so bummed. We had you on scheduled for the show the night that we had the ladies scheduled, and I was so looking forward to that. And then I just decided to go play hooky.
I know last time you bailed out on me. I didn't
know.
even have an opportunity to hang out with you.
Yeah, it's like, what in the world? But now I'm just gonna power through and go through the 10 feet of snow to get here.
Of course. I mean, you have to.
This is Minnesota. We do these things. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about working with millennials and kind of getting some ideas from someone who's in that age group about, what it takes to communicate and find out what kind of makes them tick when it comes to wedding sales. So, Allison, you've been studying this age group pretty much most of your life.
I mean, I consider myself a natural. I mean, I was born this way, so.
I just bet. So for those who are wondering why we're talking about this, kind of give us a little idea of what the age group, a little bit of the brides that are fitting in that millennial category.
Okay, so currently, the brides that we are getting into our office, actually speaking on behalf of Tailored Weddings, are, typically around the early to mid 20s. We even get some who are, 19 and freshly 20 who are coming in here. And for some reason, I see a lot of businesses get really upset when they don't get responses back from these clients.
Right.
Because we have crazy busy schedules. As a millennial, I am saying we have crazy busy schedules. And I think people take almost too much of an offense when we don't have the time to get back to, say, an email or to a phone call. But millennials, unfortunately, they are not bad people. I do not believe that I'm a bad person. There's a stigma that kind of makes us out to be bad people. I've heard people refer to millennials as lazy. I've heard people refer to millennials as, demanding. And I think it's all about learning how to connect with these people rather than trying to continue talking to them in a way that you would talk to, say, somebody or a bride in their mid-30s, because there is a big difference.
Huge difference in that. Because you guys, I'm assuming that you're seeing, from that early 20s, the 2021, probably to about 26, 27 is really the age group that has changed specifically their communication style.
Definitely.
Because it used to be that, we used to call this thing and we'd hit these numbers and hello.
Yeah, and see, honestly, that doesn't happen too much in my world anymore. I know even when I come into the office, even after a bridal show, and I have this list of contacts that I need to get a hold of who I've already met at the bridal show and know they are in the millennial age group, I am absolutely, I wouldn't say scared, but I'm a little bit discouraged when I get to the office and get ready to start calling them and following up, because I know for a fact, at least I would say about 75% of the time, if you call a millennial, they do not recognize the number. They are not going to answer your phone call. Sure. Not only that, but if you leave a message, and I can speak from experience, as a millennial, it takes me a solid week to even listen to my voicemails because of how crazy everything gets. And that is not an excuse, but we have crazy busy lives. And a lot of the times calling from a home phone or calling from a restricted number is not going to get you the results that you're looking for in regards to your sales.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I even find in my own world is I get someone who calls and it's like the text message is just so much easier to look at. Okay, boom. Because first off, they're not putting in, well, I'm just calling to ask you a couple of questions about it. And then, there's a 5-minute orientation there on my voicemail instead of one sentence. So, John, are you in? Yeah.
It's just a lot easier. It's more convenient. And not only texting, but now we have to also take into consideration that most people with cell phones are directly connected to their Facebook account.
Yeah.
Most of us have our messenger set up on our phones where we immediately receive any Facebook messages and any text messages in the same area because it's convenient. And millennials love convenience. We really do. So you need to make sure that you are advertising and you are going where these people are going. I actually have kind of an example. Initially, when I started working in the sales side of things at Tailored Weddings, Mitch was a little concerned that I was contacting brides on Facebook.
Oh, I imagine so, yeah.
Which I understand because
old.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, like, what? You're using something new to talk to people? Quit it!
So the thing about that is, though, I mean, I totally understood where he was coming from. It's really hard to track your conversations on Facebook. I do highly recommend that even if you do reach out and try to communicate with millennials in a way that's normal for them, I guess, definitely record everything you are still talking about. We use DJ Event Planner, so we just go ahead and put them into our internal notes or our conversations with our clients and save them. But he was getting almost a little bit upset that I was contacting brides on Facebook just because it doesn't seem as solid. It really doesn't. I mean, when you think of the email campaigns that we spend hours creating, or, why don't you just pick up the phone and call? Well, there's a very good chance that these people are not going to answer because they are busy. We multitask and we're terrible at it. And that's why we do not get back to people all the time. But I highly recommend, if you don't already contact your brides on Facebook via Messenger, get on that, because that is where your ideal clients are right now. And if you are not there, you are missing the boat.
You mentioned Messenger, and maybe this is something I'm picking this up with my children who are teens and young adults. They're using Messenger, but maybe not so much Facebook. They don't hit Facebook, but Messenger, boy, if I send a message to them, it's, as you say, it's instant. They're right there with it. Are you noticing that among your contemporaries, that's the case? They're not using Facebook as much as they're just using the Messenger side of it?
I think personally, I use Facebook a lot, but that's obviously because I'm in charge of the social media campaign for what I'm doing. I'm constantly on a computer. So it's not like I'm just walking around with my phone. I think it's a lot easier for brides to just go ahead, or anybody to just go ahead and respond to a message on Messenger rather than, a comment on a post or an email in their inbox. I can definitely see where people are making the switch to just use Messenger, though, because everything else takes too long. And we don't like to wait. We are very impatient, unfortunately. I definitely am. And I can't speak on behalf of all millennials, only obviously the ones that I've come in contact with and my own personal experiences. But I think we're going to see that more in the future, where brides and just millennials in general, or our clients in general, are going to move more towards Messenger rather than even taking in any of the advertisements that we are putting out on Facebook.
Interesting. So you just used a word, you're talking basically that they're not very patient, they're impatient. And the concept of wanting that connection now. How does that work into, because you've been doing sales with that age group, obviously, how does it work when it kind of rolls into the time of getting, okay, so we can communicate a little bit with Messenger, but then you get to the point where you need to get them something beyond just the, hey, let's ask a couple of questions. Great. Now I need to get you something into your hands or into your possession. Is it something that we're still using the mail? Does that even apply anymore? Or is that just like completely 2004?
2004. Well, I really don't know, John. I was in 4th grade in 2004.
So that would be before you. So then, you'd have been excited if you got something in the mail back in 2004. You'd be like, woohoo, look at it's for me.
Right. Well, personally, I do love getting things in the mail. That is super exciting. But it's all about bringing the connection that you can make with a client online or, in person, and you have to bring it in and actually provide them with enough value where they see a reason to come in and talk to you about your product or your service, which is hard because I think a lot of people view millennials as almost distant.
I can see that.
People don't think that we're very connected. even socially with one another because we're constantly in our phones. That's not the case. We love to be involved in each other's lives so much. That's why we are constantly on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly. So unless you give your brides a reason to come in and actually talk to you, unless you provide them with enough value to actually see what you're doing as worth the amount of money that they would spend for your product or service, then there's no way you're going to get them into your office. And it's hard. I see it's a lot harder for me to book meetings with millennials and have them keep the meeting than it is for me to talk to somebody who, say, is in their late 20s or early 30s, who they know what they want and they want more answers. So it's a lot easier for me to get older couples, honestly, into my office to discuss their big day.
How about using our technology to do like a video, like a Skype chat or something to that effect? Is that something that millennials learn, or is that something that has kind of even become out of fashion with that age group?
We have recently made the transition out of Skype into Zoom, actually, and we do get a lot of people who are interested in taking part in our Zoom meetings. I definitely like it because you have those brides who are also very stuck on price, and it seems a lot less aggressive when you say, well, hey, I totally get that. That's okay. Why don't we have a Zoom meeting and talk about it, instead of having them take time out of their crazy busy schedule to actually come in, which eventually should be a step. But if they are not ready for that step, I do not think that it's fair to ask them to take it.
And just a little sidebar, the Zoom is what, of course, we're using here with the disc jockey or DJ and TV stuff. And the positive thing of Zoom over Skype is really that I don't have to friend them. I don't have to have any connection with them. I can send them a link and it'll pop up and we're now chatting.
Yes.
When we used Skype, I would have to go and accept a request and this kind of mumbo jumbo. And there were times where we could not get someone to connect because, I don't remember what my Skype password, whatever. So,
right.
So Zoom is, for doing things such as this, it is a very nice software. So.
Exactly. And another part about Zoom that we actually really like is the record feature. So whenever I do have a sales appointment, I'm able to actually record the entire session with their permission, of course, and watch it back and actually see what things are working for specific client types. And you can study that and really learn from it. And especially somebody who is still kind of learning the ropes in the whole sales industry, it helps me a lot.
So you're able to take that, and what a great training tool, because you can take that video and send it to Vicki Musney, and she will tell you what color you wear 4 different ways.
Oh yes, she will, which I already know. I'm a bright yellow.
That would be like, don't look at that. That's funny. So, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead with what you had there, if you had.
So I was going to say, on the same note as video being a big thing now, I also think that it's really important that when you do choose to use social media to market yourself, that you consider using video. I know that we have, as millennials, as a whole, our attention span is shorter because we have the opportunity to take in so much data. We are consuming so much information every single day that whatever you are choosing to market on your social media account to draw people to your page or to get likes or to get business, you need to make that pop, and you need to make that pop in under 4 minutes. So I do think that that's really important. And another thing, if you are not on video, you are missing a whole bunch of people who would typically be interested in your product, but who don't have time to sit there and scroll through your entire web page. Or, it's convenient when it's, like I said, under 4 minutes. I definitely would recommend creating a video for your business that would attract millennials.
Certainly. Let's talk about that website. So, obviously video we know is a huge thing. Are the millennials using their mobile devices as much as, are they the ones, because we've moved from, 65% a couple of years ago to 75. Now we're over 80% of the people who are engaging in the disc jockey news are on mobile phones. Is this coming from the millennial, or is it just, who's using their cell phones at that level?
I think everybody is using their cell phone, their mobile device. I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk
Yes.
and how he studies people. That, his whole career is based off of studying people and wine. But anyway, so he's actually went to different areas in his town and just sat and watched all of these different age groups.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy. I remember one video specifically, he zoomed in on this lady and she was in her mid 40s. I believe it was mid 40s. And she was on Instagram for about a half an hour throughout the entire duration of his stay. She was on Instagram. So a lot of people think that, it's just because of all the millennials. It's not. It's other people realizing that this is what you need to do to stay in contact with what's going on with the world. You need to stay connected. I see so many people, especially with kids, who are so nervous to allow their kids to be a part of this technological revolution that we have going on right now. And you can't. You are putting your children at a disadvantage by not allowing them to take part in this. I'm not saying let them spend, all day on their mobile devices, all day on Facebook, but you can't hold them back from what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like these people in their middle age who are actually converting their typical way of communication into using smartphones, into using laptops, into all of this. It's all normal now because that is the world we live in. So no, I really don't think it's just millennials. I think that media is marketing obviously heavily towards millennials. And I think it's catching on with other age groups. So like I said, the technological revolution that we have going on right now is it's too big to ignore.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. It's definitely, as you say, it's a revolution and it's changed already everything we do. And it's evolving and changing probably every, 18 months in how we do business.
Yeah.
Because it's such a change. Let's go. I want to drift back. We were talking a little bit about the website. Let's talk about photos. Photos with the millennial age group would be a photo that would be appealing to a millennial would probably be a different photo than would have been appealing to their parents. If people are wanting to select photos that would kind of reach to a millennial type couple, what type of a photo or feeling would you want to convey with that image to be able to connect with them a little bit better?
Personally speaking, when I see myself planning an event or when I am planning an event for somebody else, I keep in mind that these people want an experience. Even if it's just a still image, people want to be able to feel something from that image. And I don't think that's just with millennials. I think everybody feels that. But I think it's really important that the images that we are showing our clients or the pictures that we're sending them to try to market our products are unique. And they can't be cookie cutter because unfortunately, cookie cutter is not good enough anymore. With Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, there are so many ideas out there, so many different, avenues of communication that, the ideas are endless. The possibilities are endless for the memories that you are able to create for your clients. So you need to make sure that whatever you're doing, whatever you're posting is unique. You need to make sure that your content is genuine and not just unique in a way where people can point out and just say, oh, they're just trying to be different. They don't know what they're talking about. You need to understand what you're selling and why you're selling it the way you are. So I think a picture that would be appealing, especially when it comes to our products and services that we offer. I notice now people, although they do like typically what we do, our regular MC work that we do at Tailored Weddings, they really like the bells and whistles. They like the bright lights. They like the monograms. They like the photo booths that you can provide a green screen on. It's all about having what's new.
Yeah.
And what nobody else has had before. That's a big selling point to us on the brides who we get referred to us from previous clients. They want to hire us and they want, exactly what their friend had last year. But when we start opening up the different options and saying, well, your friend didn't have this, but we do offer this now, you should see their eyes light up
Mm.
because they don't really want exactly what that was. They want that feeling that their friend had. So.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned experience. They want that to convey an experience, convey emotion. And there was one other avenue, one other little aspect you said, and I forgot it. I didn't take notes. I wasn't taking my notes at the time. Oh shoot, I forgot what it was. But yeah, that experience is such a different thing.
Mhm.
I noticed this with working with my children and their friends is there's a desire with that age group to have have more meaning in what they're doing. Such as if they want to do something, but they want it to be a reason and want it to be a meaningful reason, not just to do something because that's what we've always done. Have you experienced that also?
Definitely. And actually something that we push to our clients is know the meaning behind everything you're doing on your big day. Everything. For any event that you're taking part in, if it doesn't mean something to you, why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the millennial age group, they appreciate us opening their eyes to that because they're all about, like I said, being unique, being new, finding what's, the new hot thing. And a lot of the times they feel pressured to stay within the boundaries of what they're used to, of what, typical wedding planning is like. So it's really neat to kind of open up their eyes to that and allow them to see all the different, opportunities that they have to plan their big day and make it something spectacular. And something else that I've actually noticed with our brides is that even though they come to us with a specific vision in mind, and this is specifically millennial brides, they'll come to us with the vision, thinking they know exactly what they want. But as soon as you step in and offer them other options, and as soon as you tell them that you are there to collaborate and you are not there to just tell them what you offer, they will open up so much more. And it's absolutely amazing. Just letting them know that you're both working towards the same vision instead of just saying, here are my prices. Here's what I do. Here's my book of songs that I can play for you on your big day.
Yeah. So you mentioned with collaboration and different aspects of that, and you've been talking about kind of, I don't want to call it upsells, but options.
Mhm.
Let's talk about how does a millennial view price? I mean, and I'm going to go back to when I first started, is we commonly had sticker shock when we'd be talking to people and they're like, oh my gosh, I never knew it was that much. And it was cut until they, basically had it bear down. The number of times that happened when I was an early young DJ, this is back in the 80s when there were, rocks and sticks is all we had to play with at times. But that was what we experienced. Today when you have a millennial come in and I want to have what my friend had, and then you start talking about some different options. I mean, is there the same wall you're running into when it comes to budget, or are they more thinking, well, I can work with this?
I would have to say, with the people that I have sold to that are millennials, they are much more willing to hand me their money if you can create a good connection with them. I can't speak on behalf of, say Mitch or anybody else who works sales in this industry. But as a millennial, I have a really easy time connecting with these people.
Sure.
I get brides in my office who are my age. So we immediately bond. If you can create that bond and create that connection, and allow them to trust you, it's amazing how easy it is for them to say, oh, well, you know what? I really want you as my MC specifically because we connected. I would also like your lighting, your photo booth, your monogram. Here's $4,000 in cash.
Mm-hmm.
That has happened to me from a millennial bride in the past because they know what they want. They just need somebody to show them the options and communicate it to them in a way that they understand, in a way that they can appreciate it.
So that brings me to another thought. Is it possible that a millennial who has maybe that particular example you gave us, that she has done a little bit more research and has an idea, and she's just prepared in her mind to spend that level of money compared to I had a call today from a young man, and he had no idea, no clue, and he's looking for a DJ who can be in the $300 range. He just didn't have any idea of where
Right.
it was. No, didn't do any research until he picked up the phone. Is that why you think, or is it just because you were able to connect and get her excited about what you could help her create?
It's really hard, especially when you're talking about weddings, because a lot of these people have never done this before.
Yeah.
They have no idea. The example that I just used, actually, with the $4,000 bride, it was her first wedding. Like I said, she was a millennial. She had ideas, but until we put the options out in front of her, she had no clue what she wanted. And we do see that a lot. A lot of people do come in here and they're just like, well, I have no clue. This is my budget. Help me. What do I do from here? Luckily, in this day and age, people are prioritizing what's most important to them on their wedding day a lot differently than they were. From what I have gathered,
back when you were in fourth
decade.
grade.
Yeah, 2004. It was a great year. But seriously, they're prioritizing differently, because although it's kind of funny, because I think millennials are more focused on the party aspect of what they're doing, but also want everybody to know why they're there as well. One of my biggest sells as an MC and in the sales department for tailored weddings are our love stories.
Sure.
Because these people, and not all of them, but most of my millennial couples love to be the center of attention.
Mm-hmm.
They love it. And especially when it's for the right reason. So if you can somehow combine that need for an emotional attachment with their guest, and also provide them with a rockin' jump and dance floor that provides entertainment to all demographics, then you're going to have a successful business. It's not easy to do that, though.
Yeah.
And I've gotten really lucky this past year and had the opportunity to work with a lot of millennial brides who had amazing visions and knew, that they really wanted me specifically. And we worked together, we collaborated, but unfortunately that doesn't happen all the time. And it's really hard occasionally to make that connection with people, especially when they're outside of your own personal age range. So I know I've had a couple of older couples in here, and John, excuse me, but when I say older couples, I am referring to my, late 30s brides, early 40s.
I understand, because they're way older than me too.
Yeah, of course, So it is really hard to connect with people who, you are a lot younger than, or who you are a lot older than even. So I understand why there is such a struggle right now in the DJ industry to connect with millennial brides, because you're not hiring the people into your company that know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I'm Mitch's secret weapon. Okay.
Wait a second. Does he know this? So I mean,
if he doesn't, he does now.
Yeah, it's out there.
And if he does it after tonight, I know he didn't watch this, so I'm going to be very upset. But it's been really, really beneficial to have me in the position I am in. I wasn't always thinking in my head that I wanted to be a part of, a sales team at a wedding company. That was never my goal in life. I started out in this company as an assistant, and because I had a similar mindset to the people that we were selling to, it only made sense to put me in the position I'm in, and, to learn, to literally take it from the very bottom of where you can be in sales and work your way up. And I'm still not very far up. You have to understand. It's just that I am able to communicate with these people in a way that, the typical 45-year-old male DJ has a hard time connecting with them.
For sure. Because we like to hold on to our old ways.
Exactly. And we do too. We like to be unique. We really do. But when we have ideas set in our mind, we have a really hard time changing those ideas. We're very stubborn. So it's the same thing. We're not all that different. It takes knowing how to communicate with certain people to make your sales and run a successful business.
Let's kind of transition a little bit, and let's talk about follow-up and how a person once we're booked and we want to be following up and continuing that communication pattern, does what you mentioned earlier, Messenger, is that still becoming, or is it something that it transitions to email from your experience with continuing the conversations, or how do you do that?
I think the best luck that I have had so far with my follow-ups is through email, which I don't think that email is going anywhere anytime soon. I do think it is still a relevant tool and that you should use it. As far as our follow-ups go, we send out helpful advice. We send out reminders. We send out emails that will grab the attention of our brides. So they're not just scrolling through their emails, which they do like every 2 weeks, and, ignoring what we're posting because it's not interesting. Follow-up is very important because you're building a relationship with your clients. It's not about making sure, okay, you still want to hire me? Like, is that good? Are we still on the same page with that?
Mm-hmm.
That's great, but you need to develop this relationship throughout your follow-ups, which is why I love Facebook, because not only can you send them these emails and set your campaigns, do whatever you have to do, follow up on the phone, you can literally follow their life on Facebook. I actually just saw today that one of my upcoming brides for the 2017 season is having a really rough time at home right now. And you know what I did? I sent her a message because that's what your clients want. They want to know that you care. They want to know that they are important, even though you might go out and do a different wedding every single week. They want to feel like they are the number one priority.
Sure.
You need to make them feel like they are the most important person in the world.
Very, very true. I think that I've seen that also with my children and their friends. So let's talk about stalking.
Okay.
Social media is something where we can look up and we can find out a lot about that age group. Now, in my age group, we find that we would have probably been offended by that.
Okay.
Does someone in the early 20s or teens, are they offended when people have gone and you've looked at their Facebook and say, hey, there's this cool thing coming up, maybe there's a Bentleyville's, I see you're a big fan of Bentleyville, and that's something that's up in northern Minnesota. I saw that on one of my bride's pages. If you would be communicating like that, is that offensive to that age group, or is it like hey, they care about me?
Unless you develop the trust initially, that is creepy. I can be totally honest, because I do that. You have to understand, I'm like master stalker over here on Facebook because I have to be. I don't want to go into a sales appointment and know nothing about my client. I will go on, I will see what sports you like, what music you listen to. To the point where if I know they like a certain artist, that it would also be believable that I like that artist, I'll pull my Pandora up and I will play that. But until they mention it or until they bring up something about their likes, you do not say a word. You keep your information in your head so you don't sound scary. Because there's a very fine line between caring and stalking. And you do not want to be a stalker because that's very sketchy. I do not recommend puking out like, oh, hey, when is your birthday? Because I think it's on the same day as mine because I stalked you on Facebook. Don't do that.
Yeah. So when in the process, okay, we book or we meet and we do our things, we book the event and we're planning, and we have the event. Is there a point in time where, hey, wow, I saw that you have a new puppy. How awesome. When would that type of a thing be? Because again, you're there. Is there ever a time to do that it would be beneficial?
I think that if you develop the trust enough in the beginning and they accept a Facebook ad from you, then that opens up the playing field. Then that kind of puts all of their information on display. I would not recommend just randomly adding, every single person you meet at a bridal show, every single person, you have come into your office, unless you have a strong connection with them. And also think that they would be into the things that you are posting and understand that you are also opening yourself up to a brand new audience of people who you need to impress. I think after the friend request is sent, I think at that point it is okay. I am not one to, randomly bring up things. I'll comment occasionally on my upcoming brides posts on Facebook. And then if they come into my office for a final planner, then I will bring that up if I've already engaged in that conversation. But I think the puppy thing is totally fine, because who doesn't like dogs? Everybody likes to talk about their dogs, right?
For sure, for sure. Better than talking about, well, that rash looks nasty. Maybe,
Man, you should get that checked out.
yes, looking good. So you mentioned, of course, the friend request.
Yes.
When in the process would you send the friend request, or do you recommend that? I mean, is that acceptable once in a while? Most of the time? Where do you fall on that?
I guess it's kind of hard for me to gauge that for everybody, just because I am a 22-year-old girl. It's a lot less threatening when I make a friend request to an upcoming bride, where, and Mitch friend requests people all the time. So he doesn't seem to have a problem with it. But I think that the way people would view that, if you didn't develop a strong connection, would be like, oh my, wow, why did he add me on here? Especially if they aren't signing a contract in your office at that point. Unless you know for a fact that they are going to book, I would be very, very wary on sending them a friend request. But luckily, I don't have too much of an issue, getting other people to accept my requests, because like I said, I am 22. I run the social media page. It gives brides the opportunity to contact me if they have any additional questions. Instead of picking up a phone and calling, or having me send over my email address to them, they can just private message me. I'll get it right away. And as friends, it's a lot easier to retrieve the message than it is if they were just somebody who sent it to my other folder, incoming mail folder.
So let's continue now to our own personal Facebook page. We've kind of talked about theirs. Are there things that are basically an area or a topic or things to avoid putting on your personal Facebook page when you're working with millennials, because they are going to do research on you just like we do on them? So are there things that would be a complete turnoff that you don't want to have on your page?
Well, you never know what kind of a client your business is going to attract. I stay away from political posts all the time, because all it takes is one thing, because millennials are extremely emotional creatures. All it takes is one, bad comment about Hillary or one bad comment about Trump, and you are unfriended, you are blocked, you are not doing my wedding. It's insane. So I actually had an issue with my Facebook when I first got hired into Tailored Weddings, to the point where Mitch actually had to sit both myself and one of my coworkers down and just kind of explain to us, guys, because Allison is an MC now. It's really important to make sure that the content that you're putting out is vanilla. Like, it has to be, right in the middle. I mean, you can talk about controversial things. Don't take a side. You can. The majority of the things that I post on my Facebook are either of my family or positive quotes, or Gary Vaynerchuk videos.
Which are not safe for work, but that's another story. Right.
I mean, millennials aren't too offended by cussing, so we're in luck there. But I mean, it all depends on what kind of a client that you want to attract. Because if you're totally okay with, I just want totally, right-wing clients, or I just want completely left-wing clients, and go ahead, post whatever you want to. But it will affect who you get in your office, because not only do they see your page, but when their friends ask them for a recommendation on who they should hire for their big day, they bring up the one bad thing that they found.
Oh, yes.
That you can't completely delete off of Facebook, because people screenshot things now. So keep that in mind before you do anything at all. Post anything. It will be on there forever. And if you upset somebody enough, they will save it on their phone forever.
That is true. It's an interesting world we've moved into. Great stuff, Allison. Good information, good thoughts and such on working with that younger, that 20-something bride and couples and such. So if people like get in touch and ask some questions and such, coming from older to someone who's in that age group, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
My Facebook, actually. I mean, honestly, Facebook is a really good way. Feel free if anybody does have any questions, add me on Facebook. Post a comment below this video. I'll make sure that I read them all. If you have any questions, I'll make sure that I do respond. Otherwise, like our Facebook page, Tailored Weddings, or give me an email because I am an email girl, and my email is allison@tailoredweddings.com.
That sounds great. That sounds great. You guys just can go out there, and for a lot of you who are friends of mine or are watching this, you can just go to my friends list and you'll find Allison. She's on that
Oh
too.
yeah,
So
I'm very, very easy to find.
not tough like Mitch. He's hiding all the time.
Oh my goodness, I don't see how.
Allison, thanks for joining me tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, John. It was great.
So, gang, I gotta shut off my mic. It's coming right back into my ears. There we go. Because I was listening to Allison as we were talking and doing the interview thing again. Kind of cool to be able to talk with you guys in the chat room while that was going on. So when she and I were talking, I could focus on, that was kind of neat. So the drawings, we're going to be giving away a couple of subscriptions. I drew those out just a few minutes ago while you guys were chatting away. The two, William Buttery, you will be a subscriber. Yes, you will be a subscriber to Disc Jockey News now. And in DJ Storm, you guys were chosen in the chat room. So what you need to do is go to Facebook and message me. I need your email and your mailing address, so I'll get you hooked up into the things online and get you going. So you'll get the print issue starting with the January issue. If you have won an issue or won anything, I'm going to go through and be processing everything tomorrow. I wanted to wait until after the 12 days, so I didn't start processing things. And it's like, did I do that or not? And then I get things crossed up or forget some people. So you haven't heard anything yet because I haven't done anything yet. So that is what we're doing for tonight. And we'll be back in, goodness gracious, we got about 10 minutes yet. Let's see if I can. No, I do not have. The link, I put the link back up into the chat and such. And we can chat more when we get into the DJ and TV time here with MJ, Shani, and Dan. They'll be with us in about 10 minutes. We're getting there so quickly. So thank you for watching. That was Allison, and we're going to continue on to our next segment, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thanks.